trailer for Undertone made it look like one of the most unsettling horror movies of the year. What I actually saw was just one actress in one house and a bunch of surround sound that I forgot before I even got to my car. And I want to dive specifically into the sound design because that's the whole point of the movie. And I want to tell you how it exactly felt like sitting in the movie theater. As you may know, Undertone is an A24 film directed by Ian Towson. This was actually his directorial feature film debut. Worth mentioning, he is slated to direct the Paranormal Activity 8 movie whenever that comes out. It stars Nina Kiri as Evie, a woman who hosts a paranormal podcast with her friend Justin, voiced by Adam DeMarco. The premise is simple. They receive recordings of a married couple who's experiencing some paranormal activity around their house, and things start blending into Evie's life. The scores on this movie are a little up and down, since it's 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, a 66 on Metacritic, and then the users have given it a 6.2 on IMDb and a 2.9 on Letterboxd. So the audiences seem to like this a little bit less than the critics. And scrolling through some Reddit comments and other online reviews, people either really like it or they really hate it. What side I fall on exactly, you'll find out soon. This movie is only made on a budget of 500,000, and it already at the time of recording has grossed $18 million, so clearly audiences were a little interested. When I saw the trailer, I was immediately hooked. It looked like this intense, immersive sound experience with creepy noises all around you at all times, and this podcast concept being used to literally bring a demonic presence intrigued me a bit. It was sold as 94 minutes of something you'd never quite experienced before. I was excited, but that makes what I'm about to tell you sting even a little bit more. Let's start with the biggest problem, and honestly, this was kind of the whole movie for me. Undertone is visually nothing. The majority of what you're watching is Evie sitting at a desk, and that's it. She's at her mom's house, but never leaves. At least we never see her leave, and we don't really see any other characters besides her mom, who's kind of comatose on a bed. And in a movie theater, where the whole point is you're visually watching something, it kind of ruined the whole movie for me. At one point, I was so bored, I closed my eyes for a couple minutes. No, I wasn't sleeping, trust me. But when I opened them, nothing had happened. Everybody, well, Evie, the only character basically, was still in the exact same spot. I hadn't missed anything and was able to completely understand what was going on by just listening to it like a podcast. Nothing had changed at all. I love a good slow burn, but this movie just was slow. It doesn't help that we never actually see Justin through the entire film. He's Evie's co host, supposedly her closest friend, and he's just a voice on the phone for 94 minutes. They could have FaceTimed, they could have Zoom called, but no, he's just a voice the entire time. It's a creative choice. I understand if they're really trying to add in the audio experience, but in practice, we just needed more characters, and it killed any sense of relationship. Their relationship just felt like characters making a little small talk that were kind of friends, and they really didn't have any chemistry, and overall just resulted in a very flat relationship. What even made it weirder is during the podcast, they would kind of go into their personas, their fake identities for the podcast and personalities, which like even took away from who they were individually. Finally the ending comes. We're very slowly building to more intense audio recordings in this podcast. And finally, after 90 minutes of Evie sitting at a desk and a couple things happening, there's 5 minutes of the evil spirit being unleashed. That's supposed to be our payoff. But you can't really build to that huge payoff when you didn't build at all. It just felt like a different movie showed up for the last 5 minutes, and then all of a sudden the credits rolled. And even once the credits rolled, they played some silly kids' music song that completely ruined any scary, ominous vibes that were there. Like, the movie didn't even take itself seriously in the end, so why should I? And as bland as this movie was, the sound design might actually be the bigger problem, because that's the one thing this movie needed to get right. The trailer made it look like it was going to be this intense, thrilling audio experience with a surround sound wrapping around you and creating this overwhelming sense of dread throughout the entire movie. At least that's what the trailer was. The sound design alone should have been worth the price of admission. But in reality, the sound was just fine. They used the surround sound to make certain moments somewhat unsettling, yes, but it never really hit me. As this movie went on, I was begging for a loud bang, a jump scare, something to kind of wake me up. And I mean, I'm someone who doesn't even like jump scares. I can be a little bit of a scaredy cat in the big whole theater. But even I was sitting there just needing something, anything to wake me up because I just got uncomfortable with the audio after a while and the surround sound and the visuals of the movie even took away from this dread. The camera angle, commonly in a horror film, would be up close on a character when something scary is happening and you don't know what's around them. But this one, the character would be offset and you would see the background. And yes, sometimes there'd be maybe something there, maybe not, we don't know. You would just see it. And it's like, okay, there it is. Who cares? After a while, the surround sound really just became background noise. It stopped being a tool for engagement and for the movie experience, and was just kind of part of the movie. And it never really found another gear past that. That brings me to probably the worst thing I could say about this audio experience. This exact movie, same story, same script, same audio, same recording, same dialogue, everything. What if it's better as a podcast? When a film's defining feature works better without the visuals, the key part of a movie, why was this even a movie and not just a little podcast series? Let's go back to the trailer. I know, I keep bringing it up, but I love this trailer. It was seriously 10 times better than the movie. Spooky music, the dread, the sound bits all around. It sucked me in. It made it seem like this movie would be something unique, an immersive audio experience, which, as I said, didn't really work. Audio clips about spreading evil, and a new take on potential horror films. Ultimately, I thought it wasn't really original. It was just kind of playing on other horror movies without a new twist. Slow burn in horror movies is a classic. I love a good slow burn where we're building, 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 and finally at the end, something crazy happens. But this wasn't even a slow burn. It was just the oven is not even on, and finally in the last 5 minutes, the house is on fire. But it didn't really earn its way there. There's nothing building throughout. It also played around with the idea of the evil spirit being real. Evie's kind of sensing stuff in her head, and you're kind of like, is it real? Is it not? I can't really tell. Till finally you get the result in the end. It's just kind of similar to other movies like The Witch, a slow build. Hereditary, also a slow build. But those movies are so much better and do that concept so much better. It also kind of played on the found footage concept. They take these audio recordings from some mystery email about this unknown couple, and you're just kind of hearing the sounds. But again, found footage movies like The Ring, like Sinister, where there's this evil presence kind of in the media they're watching themselves, so much better as well. I really just walked out of this movie thinking, yeah, I've seen that before, and this might be the worst example. So here's where I land. If you haven't seen Undertone, honestly, just skip it. Don't waste your time. It's honestly pretty boring experience from start to finish that might make you fall asleep. Like if I really tried, I could have fallen asleep during this. I scored an overall 2 out of 10, and I know it'll be near the bottom of my ranked movies at the end of the year. It was a unique concept, a great trailer, a $500,000 budget that made over $18 million, so clearly people were interested. At the end of the day, Undertone promised to be something special, but it never delivered on that promise. Did the trailer work for you to get you to see this movie? And did it ultimately pay off? Over 80,000 people have given this above a 3 stars on Letterboxd, so clearly someone out there can tell me why I'm wrong. Please drop that in the comments. If you want more honest takes from an average guy on the latest movies and TV shows, please hit subscribe. I'd love to have you along for the ride.